14, The Process of Writing and Illustrating a Book with Tricia Fugelstad. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Noveleffect synchronizes theme music, sound effects, characters' voices as you, the parent, the teacher, read the book aloud to your kids.
So you just need the app on your phone, tap the book that you're going to read, and then you set your device aside and you open up that physical print book.
There's no precedent for this. It's a voice-driven audio experience. It's about capturing that child's attention and having them look at you like a hero.
You can get 20% off your Noveleffect subscription by going to noveleffect.com/subscribe and using the promo code TeacherGoals20. The Hitchhiker's Guide for Educators Tech Talk will begin in 30 seconds. Would you like to find out more information on sponsoring our live stream? Email sponsorships at teachergoals.com. Without further ado, let's start the show. Hi, welcome everybody to the TeacherGoals Tech Talks Season 2, Episode 14, where we are going to learn about what it takes to write, illustrate, and animate a kid's book. I'm Amanda Fox, here with co-host Ether Brown. And we are excited you decided to hitchhike your way with us today through not only tech tools, but the pedagogy and strategies behind them. With World Read Aloud Day, also known as RAD, coming up on February 1st, we're excited to have author, illustrator, animator, educator, Tricia Fugelstad. Gosh, is there anything she doesn't do?
I know. And I love how she ties augmented reality in with the art projects she does with the kids. I mean, art, augmented reality, and even sometimes SEL. She has lessons that tie into reading and holidays. And as an elementary teacher that used to teach everything, oh my gosh, it's all one thing bundled into one person. So I'm excited to welcome Trisha to our show.
Hello, I'm so glad to be here. Yay, thank you.
We're excited you're here as well. Tanya says hello from Texas. If you guys can drop in the comments where you're tuning in from, we cannot wait to dive into what it takes to publish, illustrate, write, animate a kid's book. And if you guys did not know, TeacherGoals actually is a publishing company. We just launched our publishing division, and we have 28 books in the pipeline. And 4 of which are kids' books or children's books, and Trisha is one of our authors. So we're excited to have you on board. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Tricia Fugelstad, and I want to go back to the beginning. I started going to college to be an artist. So that was my first goal. And then I got sidetracked into art education, ended up in an elementary art room for decades and found out that that was exactly what, it was a perfect fit for me, a place where I can be creative and create these engaging, fun lessons with my students. So from there, I developed this philosophy of making learning fun. And that meant looking for ways to keep things engaging and fun for myself. So I started to do fundraising and writing grants and what else? Oh, entering contests to get a class set of iPads. And when we had a one-to-one iPad art room, all of a sudden this magical thing started to happen where we could make art and then make our art move. And that's when everything started to change. It transformed my curriculum and it brought in all these other things I could teach my students. But it also created this really cool problem of, okay, we're making art and then we're making the art move through digital technology. How do we showcase it? And when we looked through ways of doing that, we landed on augmented reality because we were calling this transdigital art. So it really fully to fully appreciate it, you needed to have the physical art and the digital experience at the same time, which happens perfectly with augmented reality. So that led me here. And to get here, I met Erica Sandstrom. We did the Green Screen Summit, and she and I were presenting at ISTE last year, and I did it virtually. She went down to Louisiana in person, and that's where she met Amanda. Amanda got hooked into the Green Screen Summit, and I was doing all this, technical work trying to get the website together, and I'm reading Amanda's bio, and she's, into publishing. She has an augmented reality children's book, Marker Town, and I'm like, what in the world? How is this possible? I want this. And so when the dust settled from the Green Screen Summit, I connected with Amanda and said, how can I get in on this?
And all it took was you asking, because I was already thinking of how to rope you in. And as far as the Green Screen Summit, I was so honored to be part of that. If you guys have not checked out the Green Screen Summit, if you share the link, I'll push that out. There were some amazing speakers from all over. Also, we've got some people tuning in from the Philippines, from Thailand, from Texas. So welcome, everyone. Tanya says the Green Screen Summit was awesome.
I agree. It was amazing. I'm excited to be part of it next year.
Yeah, you had speakers like
this year.
Barbara Bray, who else? The Merrills. So just some excellent educators that were pulled into it. So yeah, so I got to talking to Trisha, and she does the augmented reality content. So TeacherGoals has partnered with QuiverVision. So QuiverVision powers all of our augmented reality technology behind the books. So when Trisha's book comes out, which I'm going to go ahead and screen share, this is Peterometer. Welcome, everybody, meet Peter. Woo! Woo! We're excited for Peterometer. He is an emotional robot, and he has a crew of friends. And I'm going to stop telling your story and let you talk about your book. But in the end, Trisha's doing all the animations, and QuiverVision, you'll be able to use the Quiver app and scan the pages to experience the book as well as read it.
Which is so exciting. Yeah, that's the solution that I've been hoping for when I talked to you. So it was more than I could have figured out on my own, for sure. Definitely needed the team and the support of TeacherGoals. So Peterometer, I did a book pitch with Amanda and TeacherGoals, and so Brad was a part of that. And over my shoulder caught their attention. I have some robots. This is like my robot room here. And these robots were part of a art project that I wanted to create for my students. And it made them, I guess, intrigued because it connected social emotional learning with augmented reality, animation, and as an art teacher, I infused a lot of color and art concepts like drawing shapes and forms, etc., and showing expression on your face. And so it wasn't a story, but they said, "Can you make it into a story?" So I'm like, okay, let's see if we can. And after, I guess it didn't take me that long, to maybe a couple weeks to dream up Peterometer based on the idea of emotional robots. So let me see. Remember I was telling you that I've been into augmented reality and trying to figure it out. So the idea of wanting to make an augmented reality story really came from this kind of play that I did. I call this the Pupil Fun house, hashtag Pupil Fun house. So I make art, and I make art with my students. I make art around my house. You can see my art. And so I thought, well, what if my art that I have that's in print form could come to life with augmented reality? So that's where I started to play. My coasters all come to life with animations and augmented reality. a portrait on the mantle comes to life, a painting over the couch comes to life. I illustrated a whole bunch of sewing patterns, and they all tell stories and come to life. And a mug with a first grade project comes to life. And I even wrote an article for School Arts Magazine about my color monster lesson, and I set up augmented reality in the printed version so you can scan it and it comes to life right out of the magazine page when you get the actual physical magazine. So this was super exciting and setting me up for doing an augmented reality children's book, because this made me so excited. I couldn't figure out how to do the book part. Like I can do it my own stuff that I make and have printed up. I needed help to go further.
Well, I've liked watching you on Twitter share your story behind this, because you've shown examples that you actually took inspiration from your students. So how exciting is that for those students to be able to say, hey, I actually made that one first?
Absolutely. I'm so excited to have that moment where I let them know that each one of those robots, and maybe it's not on this page, but while I'm on this page, this is my my emotional robot grouping. So I have 6 emotional robots in this particular room that I'm in right now. Every painting comes to life off the wall. So I've been playing with the idea of robots showing expressions, or they like have gadgets that move. And it's super simple animation techniques, but it feels very magical to me. And the idea that when they come to life, they also have personality and expression. And it's a pretty simple concept, but I think it's accessible for children too. Like, it's not a hard thing to do, and I can break it down. As an art teacher, I know how to break this down and make it accessible for my students. So that's the piece I want to keep, even though there are so many really high-end ways to animate. I really like the idea of making the art accessible and this technique accessible, so that when they read the story, they can also go make their own robot and make it move.
Yeah, and while the AR technology in the book will be powered by QuiverVision, Trisha, you've created lesson plans for teachers to be able to reproduce this with kids using AR tools like iJack. So while Quiver is going to power, there'll be like an AR robot coloring page that comes to life. While it powers the AR content for our books, there are AR apps out there that allow you, as teachers, to kind of take this concept and run with it. And outside of the art room, I mean, this is applicable for all elementary students, as it deals with emotions and social emotional learning, and how to appropriately respond to an emotional situation. I love you've got this repetition in the book. Do you want to tell them what it is, or?
The book is, so Peter becomes emotional when his buttons are pushed. But before a button is pushed, he asks the audience, he asks the viewer for advice. So what they're really doing then is saying, here's my situation, here's some of the responses my body is having, like these mechanical terms that also represent emotional responses, like let off steam, dial down, grind gears, meltdown, overload, crosswires, gear up, electrify, etc. Those kind of phrases fit really perfectly for talking about robots, but they also help you identify that there's an emotion welling up inside of you. So Peter will ask you to help him figure out which button to push. What is the emotion that fits this situation? And then when the button is pushed, there'll be a reaction and maybe a solution to a problem.
And that reaction can also be seen through the AR content, as well as flipping to the next page. But the repetition, I think, is going to be great for read alouds. it's a technique used in kids' books where students predict what's going to come next, and having that prompt, like which button should I push, which I'm not going to give away the refrain. You didn't, so I'm not going to give it away, but it's really
Well, I just haven't seen if the editor wants me to change it yet, so I didn't want to say something.
So, a peek behind the process. So Trisha, again, she came to us with another book pitch, which we accepted both pitches. Her other book is The Snow Flurry Fairy, which will probably be making a debut in December. Peter will be out sooner, but me and Brad Weinstein, who is one of our co-founders, he is the CEO. We loved the concept of Peter and these emotional robots, and from there we had her take this concept that wasn't even supposed to be a book and turn it into a book, and it's wonderfully written, and so the first manuscript was turned in, and we've sent it off to the developmental editor, and yesterday we got the developmental edits back, which Trisha has not peeked at yet, but
Purposely didn't, because I didn't know if it was going to be difficult to see my ideas kind of, red lines all over it, how that is. But
with Marker Town, it took me about 12 iterations to get it to where it needed to be. And that's just part of that writing process. So going through that ourselves and being able to share that with students, that editing is the most important part of the writing process, because it's refining all those original ideas. It's taking that coal that we put on a sheet and refining it down until we get to the diamond that is the story, perfectly metered underneath.
Right. From teaching third grade, I can tell you that most students just want to do one copy and turn it in, but they don't understand that even adults and professional people have to edit. So I really appreciate you sharing this with us.
So what you're seeing on the screen right now are the classmates and other characters that might show up in the book. And so what you have not seen yet is an actual illustration for the book, because I haven't gotten to that stage yet, actually. I need to have all the words down, figure it all out, even know what words go on what page before I can put the final illustrations all together. So I thought, well, while I'm waiting or going through this manuscript process, I'm going to just dive in and invent who, or flesh out, maybe that's a better phrase, who is this Peter and who are all his character friends in the story. And then in doing so, I just feel like I have made them come to life. They become much more three-dimensional to me, and they have personalities. They have gadgets that are unique to them. They have different skills. They have, obviously a color palette and different looks. But this was a really fun creativity challenge for me, just to think, of a variety of different robots and all the different things they can do.
And I love the names of your robots because they're very witty too. I can't think of any, of course, off the top of my head, but I remember just laughing when I saw what they were.
This is Annie Log. So, she's a little analog, right? And I love how you can watch TV in her, or maybe a movie, and she's projecting, and she's kind of like those marquees when you go to a movie. She's sparkly like a marquee down here. And this is Argulat Bot. So he speaks in pirate talk.
My favorite one.
And his eye becomes like a telescope. And this is Macrowave, and he can, he's a fun friend to be by, because he's always like heating up some snacks for you.
That would be my best robot friend right there. I could have a robot friend that just heated up the snacks all the time. It was just a snack machine. Yeah.
Yeah, he's generous too. He'll share. And this over here is Anita Tune-Up, and she has a built-in hoverboard, so she can hover over her students in the classroom setting, which works out really good.
No, I loved it. I love the characterization, and I love again how you brought these to life, not just conceptually, but through animations, and you put a lot of thought into how their personalities are reflected in how they're drawn and how they're animated and how they behave within the context of the story.
Exactly. And, I think for me to feel good about a story, I don't want it to be flat, like even metaphorically. Just don't, I want it to feel like I really thought through the whole thing, that the characters, have a three-dimensional, I don't know, personality. Like I don't know how to describe, but I wanted you to be able to connect with them. So when I did this sketch, it's like a creativity challenge for myself, what I've been going through. And I asked myself, what is a robot classroom or what does it look like? And what I found was, this is not my first sketch for sure, but I immediately went to this default place in my sketches that were so uninspiring. They looked a lot like the suburban one-story brick building that I've been teaching in for many decades, with cramped little spaces and low ceilings. And then I started to I just was so frustrated, and I'm like, how can we get excited? Remember my theory is Pupil Fun. How can we have fun in this room? And so
Oh,
then I learned about, I think I had known about it, but I connected the idea of retrofuturism. And retrofuturism, if you don't know, is how the people from the past imagine the future. So like in the 50s and 60s, they were drawing futuristic paintings. So
Like the Jetsons.
Exactly, like the Jetsons.
I totally get a Jetsons vibe from this. I love
and that's
it.
intentional, right? So the idea is that you would see elements that remind you of the past, like that elevator is really the shape and design of a jukebox from the 50s, and something with the tile floor. And but it's not all the past, because all of a sudden there's this camera that looks like a projector, and it has a smart board kind of thing, and very futuristic buildings out the window. But those tables look like something that, mid-century and modern and maybe today at the same time. And I saw those in my library at school, So there's you can't tell, are we in the past or in the future? And I kind of like that. And I also like the idea of high ceilings and big windows and just, spread out. And why skimp on education, right?
Yes.
And I was thinking, what does recess look like when you're a robot? How do you like to play? And one of the things I was thinking about is, not all the robots can climb stairs. Their legs don't necessarily work that way. So
A slide lift.
so they've got so there's the slide ovator, and then there's a crank shifter, and then there's a magna mover. So it's like your big magnet on your head, and it takes you across.
Oh,
And then there's the robo-spinator, the one that spins you.
So you've pulled this whole robot universe from your brain, and it's just fantastical to to see a peek inside of your head.
And even more impressive is that she didn't have it before, because you guys sprung the idea of the book on her.
Yeah,
So really
we basically told her you're writing this book, Trisha.
Well, I see, this is what I would do with my students. Are so creative. So this is the kind of stuff that they would tell you these things. And they would just start drawing the recess, and this is what a classroom looks like, and this is what all the gadgets do. So I'm just trying to put myself into that space and be as creative as my students would be. And then I did the same with, okay, what does his house look like? and this totally has a Jetsons feeling, doesn't it?
Erica's got a question for you. She said, I can imagine you do dream about robots and have a journal by your bed to jot down ideas at 3 a.m. And earlier she asked, do you dream about robots, Tricia?
Well, I guess this has happened. I got a lot of robot ideas in the middle of the night, and I did have to get up and write them down. So that did happen. But yeah. So I'm having a lot of fun, obviously, coming up with ideas. And I was thinking about what the ultimate bedroom might look like in the robot house. I was also thinking about there's hints of tube TV, so it's not exactly, there's still hints of old technology.
That retro futurism you were
Yeah.
talking about. It's got that retro, Jetson-y feel with very futuristic elements.
Right. And then that teddy bear is kind of breaking the fourth wall, kind of staring right at you, asking you, what are you thinking?
If his eyes follow me when I move, no.
Not a lot of organic things in here. So there's not a lot of plant life or things that are even soft in the robot world. And so the teddy bear kind of stands out in that space. And then I was thinking about, what does the school bus look like? And so I came up with this, but then I thought, well, maybe I don't have to completely start from scratch. Maybe I could have some of the 50s kind of style, automobiles, and then just turn them into flying machines too. And then what does the school look like from the outside? And how do you, so those, where, did you see where you go for recess?
On the sides.
Yeah, and there's a glass dome here. It's a little bit hard to see. So that's, so every grade level might have a different,
Tinker Trend School. I love it. I love all the names. And seriously, yes, she has created a cartoon. I was joking.
That's what I told her.
That Teacher Goals next thing is we're gonna have Teacher Goals TV, and Trisha's just gonna have to come on full time and be our animator.
I was having so much fun, obviously.
TV.
So those are some of my ideas, and I just started thinking about little vignettes because I don't know yet what all is going into the actual illustration. So I just started thinking about a painting on the wall, the family portrait, the cat. We came up with the name Megabytes, and
love it.
Yeah. So that's where I've been putting my energy while I was waiting to go to the next step with the manuscript, which is actually starting tomorrow, where I'm going to actually read the notes and find out what needs to happen. But,
So again, Teacher Goals Publishing, we're super excited. We have all of these books coming out this year, and four of which, actually five are AR Kids books. So they are kids books that are written and powered by QuiverVision technology. We have augmented reality children's workbooks. And then we have a whole series of educational technology books taking the lead with Canva. And then we have pedagogy and teaching strategies too. So the science of reading is a hot topic, and it kind of goes hand in hand with us as publishers of children's books. So Malia Hollowell is one of our authors, and the science of reading is coming out in April. It's the science of reading in action. 13 brain-friendly strategies every teacher needs to know. So perfect tie-in and perfect way to support that strategy. And we have, Jeff Kubiak, who has Monsters Have Manners. This is one of our upcoming kids' books as well. He just joined the author family, and his book is in layout. So it should be out. It should be in pre-order by February 1st. Matter of fact, it is on pre-order for the on Amazon for Kindle. So go pre-buy Jeff's book. It's awesome. It's another book dealing with SEL. And then I threw this together for you. Welcome to our author family. We're super excited to have you. And just real quick, I do want to plug that we have World Read Aloud Day coming up on February 1st. My dogs are barking with excitement for Rad. They're being super rad about Rad. But February 1st, we have 2 straight hours starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have Adam Wallace of How to Catch a Dinosaur. We have Peter Reynolds coming on reading The Dot. I will be reading Markertown, and Jeff will be reading Monsters Have Manners. If you register now, we have a free 50-page activity book that you can get. It has QuiverVision coloring pages that go with every single book. So and they're free. You scan the QR code on the inside and you get access to that. So to do that, you need to go to teachergoals.com, and I'm just gonna share my screen real quick.
And don't those books tie in with noveleffect too that we had on last week?
They do. So noveleffect, the How to Catch a Dinosaur and The Dot, Peter and Adam will be reading their books with soundscapes in the background. So we're super excited about that. And again, you can register by going to teachergoals.com and clicking on the pop-up banner, Teacher Goals / World Read Aloud Day. And February 1st, 11 to 1, we have bonuses. We have giveaways. We're giving away book bundles, a school license to noveleffect, and all of the books are signed by the authors. And then we also have like little activity bundles. So with The Dot, you get a class set of canvases and dot markers. With Monsters Have Manners, you get a set, like $60 value of the magnetic monsters. And then with How to Catch a Dinosaur, we have a dinosaur sensory bin and 6 like big size dinosaurs that you get to put in your classroom. So you can win by registering. You get entered, being there live, and tweeting and posting on social media. So and then QuiverVision, if you're not familiar. So this is an example of Quiver AR content. So these are the pages.
Hell, lion.
So with the QuiverVision pages, there's also games they can play, phonics games where they actually spell the letter and drag and drop them, and it pronounces the sound of each letter. And there are animal facts, and this is just, I have a 5-year-old, and he's been saying, "Mommy, when are we gonna play with the phone on the book again?" So it's great way to get kids wanting to come back and really engage in that content. And then one more thing I'm going to share is that noveleffect right now has a back to school plan. You can get the annual plan for $19 for the entire year using the code crazy19. So make sure you check into this. $19. I think it's normally like $99 a year. So $19 for the whole year is just like a crazy good deal. So
yeah, absolutely insane. And this might be a good gift to your teacher friends or family members too.
Yeah, like you don't have to be an educator to get it, because it's absolutely amazing for just reading at home. Mm-hmm. So
fun. Just wrote that down. Cool.
All
right. So I've been asked, how do you do the animation part? Yes. So, and then we just saw what QuiverVision does for animation. It seems like they lift it off the page and they make these 3D models. But I wanted to do an animation style that matches how I was teaching my students to animate. So you make the art, then you make the art move. And I'm working on the iPad using Procreate, and you can work in layers. And so anything that I want to move, I save it for a separate layer so that I can easily tweak it and move it. So like if you had a layer that has a gauge, you just make that arrow on a separate layer and then you move it, move it, move it, move it, move it very easily, and it's like a layer over the background, and then you just save those frames and turn it into an animated GIF. And that animated GIF moves when you're in the augmented reality set or mode. So Peter's pretty layered here because he's the star of the show. And so a lot is going on. But the other ones, if you were to go back and take a look, they only have like 3 or 4 things about them that move. And that might change. I might get even more crazy with it later. And so I was playing with the idea of what the book cover might look like. So this is something that I did a lot of playing with. I've animated a lot of books. And one of the authors for World Read Aloud Day, Jeff, he had a book before that came out maybe a few years ago.
One Drop of Kindness.
One Drop of Kindness.
Yeah.
I had already animated that book cover. And that's how I knew about him. I like when I looked him up, I'm like, oh, he's the one I animated his book cover. Because the printed image is really easy to work off of when you want to practice augmented reality. So I started going through all the books that I could find, and that looked easy to animate. And so his was one. And I did like many of the books that I was using with my students. And if we did a project, I animated the book cover, wowed them, and then we started the project. So I just loved the idea, and it really wowed my students. So of course, peterometer would need an augmented reality book cover.
Absolutely. And I love all the characters just kind of grouped together. You can really see the entire class. And bringing it to life, it's just so much fun. I could see Barnes and Noble's display stands just with a thing saying, scan this and bring it to life real quick. So
that'd be awesome. Love it.
Yeah. So again, Peterometer will be coming soon on pre-order, and we're hoping to have the book out for live orders this summer.
Yay. Love it.
Yay. Super exciting. Is there anything that you want to leave our viewers with? Any advice or anything about writing, illustrating, and animating, or the writing process?
So, I think I've been challenging myself to remember this is all about fun. I'm having fun, but also to stretch my brain and to break out of, my stereotypes and my easy default ways of drawing. So I'm taking classes I'm doing tutorials to try to learn more about Procreate. I'm trying to take webinars on what it's like to go through the publishing process, and I'm trying to stretch and grow. And I'm also trying to share my process on Twitter and Instagram so that others can follow along. And so
that window into that process has been invaluable and exciting. Mm-hmm. It's a great way to engage future readers and buyers of your book to make them feel part of that process. Like I remember, when she was writing that, I remember when she was illustrating that.
And also I'd like to invite people to give me feedback, because I remember Heather gives me a lot of feedback, and some of her ideas are going to show up in the book. Why not?
That's so exciting.
But it makes sense. I mean, the people who can help me see things differently or stretch my brain, that's really exciting. And I'm sharing these things, and I'd love to hear, how I can make it better.
And you are on Twitter. You are at Pupil Fun.
On
Correct?
Instagram, I'm Pupil Fun. On Twitter, I'm Tricia Fugelstad. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying. Yep, at Tricia Fugelstad, just her name on Twitter, and at Pupil Fun on Instagram. So make sure that you follow her and keep abreast of the progress of this book, and give feedback, because you might see your suggestions reflected. And if you are interested in or you have an idea for a kid's book or an education book or an ed tech book, make sure that you go to TeacherGoals website. We have a book section and a publish with us. Give us your pitch, send it to us. We're looking for hot new ideas, and we are dedicated to adding value and contributing to a paradigm shift in education through kid stories, but also pedagogy.
And if you're going to FETC, you can find Amanda and I there as well to talk about your books.
Absolutely. So thank you, Tricia, for sharing with us tonight, and thanks to our viewers for joining us on this journey. If you liked our conversation today, don't forget to check out our other episodes on the TeacherGoals YouTube channel. We also want you to join in on the conversation. Use hashtag TG Tech Talks to ask questions or comments on tonight or previous episodes. So, and tell us what you want to see featured in the future. You can always ask us questions directly on social media, and find the TeacherGoals. Again, the TeacherGoals team will be at FETC. So we hope to see you there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Courses by TeacherGoals. Register now for the Canva Classroom.